Welcome everyone. My name is Gayle, and this practice is going to be about strength for your whole body. Whenever we're doing anything, the more we can engage our whole body, the more safe we're going to be, the more effortless things will be, and the more feeling of grace and balance we're going to have in our lives. So even if it seems like an activity is mainly focusing on the legs, we want to engage our upper body as well. And if it feels like it's mainly focusing on our upper body, we want to engage our lower body as well. So yoga is a lot about integration and more awareness and really appreciating our entire body and how all the different parts of it function together in harmony. So if you want to have a block or two, that could be handy, not absolutely necessary. We're going to be doing Half Moon and Warrior 3. So if you want some kind of prop to help lift you up off the floor a little bit, go ahead and grab it now. And other than that, we're just going to start first with tuning into our breath. So please close your eyes and focus on your inhale, filling you up, and the exhale letting you go. And a lot of times when we do something that's challenging for us or that's difficult, we tend to stop breathing unconsciously or barely breathe. So being aware of your breath and keeping a nice full breath throughout the practice, throughout whatever you're doing, is really beneficial and really helpful. It's also nice to work on your spine. So you can keep your eyes closed or open them and just do a few cat-cows just to warm up the spine. This is one of my favorite things to do. I just love getting the spine moving. It feels so good. And now let's warm up our hands and our wrists a little bit. So start by interlacing the fingers. Just begin to do some gentle, easy figure eights, rolling out the wrists. And just gently pull your fingers back with your wrists straight. And that'll get into the fingers. Then if you let your wrist bend, it'll get more into your wrist. And you can straighten your arm, feeling the stretch go all the way up into your shoulder. And just gently, slowly move back and forth between all those different ranges of motion. Getting a nice stretch all along the end. And then we're going to work on the top of our wrists and arms. So you can make a fist with your hand and gently pull back on your fingers with the opposite hand, or you can have your fingers straight. With the fingers bent, it's a little deeper stretch. You can do this anytime during the day when you just think about it and want to take a little break. And then we'll interlace our fingers and just do some nice rotating motions with the hands, warming up the wrists again. That's also good to prepare our feet for whatever we're doing. So you can cross your left ankle above your right knee and take the fingers of your right hand in between your left toes and just start to twist your foot, extend and flex your toes. Give yourself a little massage across the sole of your foot with your left thumb. When we put our shoes in feet, when we put our feet in shoes all the time, we tend to limit the range of motion. And unfortunately, most shoes are tapered. So it's really important to make sure that we take care of our feet and allow them to be mobile like they're meant to be, because with 26 bones, that's room for a lot of movement. Okay, spread your toes, slide your fingers out, switch sides, and slide your left fingers in between your right toes. Again, you can put a little traction on your toes, you can flex and extend your toes, you can twist your foot a little bit. So of course we always want to be mindful. We don't want to like yank our feet around, but just kind of gently twisting and testing our range of motion, noticing the tissue of our feet. Does it feel like hard, or is it pliable and yielding and soft? And spread your fingers, spread your toes. And let's come onto our hands and knees in tabletop. We're gonna do this little, it's kind of like a bear crawl. So you just lift your knees barely up off the floor, and then step your right hand and your left foot forward, and your left hand and your right foot forward, right hand, left foot, left hand, right foot. And then we'll reverse it. Left hand, right foot back, right hand, left foot back, left hand, right foot, right foot, right hand, left foot. And this will go all the way to the back of our mat. Now, the closer your knees are to the floor, actually, the more challenging it's going to be. So if you lift up like this, it's a little easier. So just kind of notice what you're able to do. Try and keep your knees a little bit lower if you can. And we're just gonna walk back and forth. Now you could do this across the whole room, but just for a camera's sake, I'm just doing it back and forth across the mat. And notice how, like, you would expect this to maybe be pretty easy, but it's actually pretty challenging, especially if you keep your knees low. So we'll just go a little bit, one more time, forward and back. And sometimes it's tricky, like remembering to use alternate hand and feet. Maybe you feel your shoulders and your quads burning a little bit. Oh, so this would be a nice time to rest in child's pose. Just switch your hands forward, let your forehead rest on the floor. And use your breath to kind of clean out your body, help you to rest and rejuvenate. And now let's give our hands and our wrists a little break and come onto our backs. Stretch your arms forward, lift your head and your shoulders off the floor. We're going to start with bent legs, so reach your left leg up and your right knee bent, and then switch back and forth. So straighten the right leg, pull the left knee in, straighten the left leg, pull the right knee in, and just continue to move nice and slowly back and forth. So it's important that your low back is pressing into the floor, that you're not arching your back. So you can even think of kind of pressing down here. Lift your shoulders as much off the floor as you can and move nice and slowly with control. So this will engage your neck muscles, your abs. You can tell my voice is a little bit shaky now, but let's take a little rest. Oh, maybe circle your hips both directions. We'll do something very similar. So lift your head up off the floor, reach your arms forward. This time straighten both legs and shift your legs so one leg is lowering down as the other leg lifts up. And then just move nice and slowly. Notice how your back, your shoulders are going to want to drop toward the floor. So if you need to bring them down, you can bring them down, but if you can keep them lifted, it'll help work your neck muscles a little bit more, work your abs a little bit more. But come down if you need to, like rather than have poor form, you can always stop a little bit early. So we'll do one more each side. Woo, then relax. I mean, actually that was harder for me on my neck than my abs. So just circle around in both directions. And bring your arms out to the side. Pick your legs up, squeeze your knees in towards each other, and lower your knees about halfway over to the right, and hold here. Pressing up through your right knee and up into your left knee, trying to keep both shoulders down. Then roll your hips back to center and twist over to your left, maybe about halfway. The lower you go to the floor, the more challenging it is. The more you straighten your legs, it's even more challenging. So find something that you can maintain. We'll just do 3 times on each side. Maybe you try a little more challenge each time, or maybe not. Then come back to center, and we'll twist to the left. And you could even play with straighten your legs for a little bit and then bending them again. Pulling your knees up a little tighter. Straighten your legs. So I'm using my arm also to hold me up. So last time, twist halfway or maybe even a little bit more to the right. Play with the position of your legs. You might have a wall in the way like I do. And the last time we'll roll over to the left. Good, come back to center. Give yourself a little hug. We're gonna rock up and come onto our right side. We're gonna work the inner thighs a little bit. So you can come onto your forearm. Bring your left foot to the floor, a little bit behind your body, and then flex your right foot and think of lifting your heel up away from the floor a little bit. And then think of leading with your heel on the inside edge of your foot. Keeping your body pretty still and just lift and lower your right leg up and down. Now at first you might not feel like much, but if you keep doing this, you will feel it more and more. And a lot of us are weak on our inner thighs, and that can create some imbalances in how we walk and how we run and how we do just about everything. So it's really important to balance opposing muscle groups. So I don't know about you guys, but like I'm getting a little tired here. I can really feel that these adductor muscles are working. So we'll go a little bit longer. Again, you can always stop early and rejoin, or just take whatever rest you need. Good. And now I'm gonna bend the right knee, bring it a little bit forward, straighten the left leg out. I'm gonna lift my heel away from the floor and bring my leg a little bit behind me. And then just lift like from your heel. Lift and lower. So this is gonna work the glutes and down into the muscles along the outside of your leg. And again, see if you can do this without moving your body too much. So really trying to isolate these muscles. Maybe put a little smile on your face. I think it's hard. And it's gonna be what your heel's gonna want to drop most likely. So see if you can keep your heel lifted and your foot flexed. We'll just do a couple more of these. Remember to breathe. All right, so now we're gonna switch to the other side. So I'm gonna slide around so I can still face the camera. Bring your right foot behind you, straighten your left leg out on the floor and point your toes down and your heel points up. I think you want to keep your left leg kind of close to the right leg that's behind. We're just going to lift and lower. So you can balance with your hand here, or you could, whoops, try and like not use your hand and hold your balance. Maybe have your, whoa, I'm not doing so good on this side. Interesting. So just go back and forth, finding that steadiness, which I seem to manage to do right now, although I wasn't at first. So it just shows you how easily you can get thrown off balance. So we'll keep going a little bit longer. Really, to build strength, we want our muscles to fatigue. We want to go into that uncomfortable zone. And that's where we start to build muscle, build coordination, build awareness. So just a couple more reps. Try and keep that heel lifting from the inner thigh, the inner foot. All right, now bend that left knee, straighten the right leg out. Point your toes down, bring your leg a little bit behind you. And start to, again, lead from your heel, lifting and lowering. And you might find that both sides are kind of different. Like what might have been really hard for you on one side is easier on the other side. So keep your whole leg engaged by flexing your foot pretty strongly. And just think of lifting from your glutes. This is going to teach you a lot about your body and how well it's balanced. Like just now I'm starting to get a little bit tired, just a little bit, whereas I got tired a lot faster on my other side doing this. So just a couple more rounds back and forth. Remembering to breathe. And let your neck and your shoulders relax. Good. And now let's come back into tabletop. And we're going to work on some plank variations. Okay? So, step 1 foot back at a time coming into plank. And think that you want to be lifting from your belly up, but also stretching forward with your chest. So we're not overly rounding, not collapsing. Then lift your right leg up, lower it down, lift your left leg up, lower it down. So you can continue doing that if you want, or we're going to add on. So see if you can lift your right arm up, lower it down, lift your left arm up, lower it down. Right leg lifts, left leg lifts, right arm lifts, left arm lifts. And now let's see if we can add on. So left leg lifts, right leg lifts, right arm lifts, left arm lifts. Now see if you can, we're going to try and lift our left leg and our right arm together. So this takes a lot of like control and really hugging the midline. So try not to let your arm wander out to the side or your leg wander out to the side. But just think of slowly reaching your leg up and back and your arm forward and up. Maybe one more time each side. Woo! Rest back in a child's pose. Just let your body relax here. So one more thing, tuck your toes. We're going to come into downward facing dog. Take a moment to grip with your hands. Externally rotate your shoulders. Then step your left foot in a little bit, reach your right leg up. Bring your heel to your hip and try and squeeze your calf and your hamstrings together. And then pick your knee up and stretch forward, trying to touch your right knee to your right armpit. And stretch back. Hug in, really squeeze up. Try and keep your foot as far away from the floor as you can. And we'll just do 5 of these. So if you let your leg hang low, it's a lot easier. So aim high, do the best you can. Knowing that with practice, this gets a little bit easier. Good. Bring your right foot down and let's just give our hands a little break. You can turn your fingers towards your knees and just gently rock back and forth. Maybe circle around your wrists with your body, both directions. Maybe place the top of your hands down and rock forward and back. And let's try the other side. So tuck your toes, reach up and back with your hips. Step your right foot in a little bit, reach your left leg up. Squeeze your heel to your hip and squeeze your thigh towards your your thigh towards your ribs and stretch back. And then heel to hip. Really pull up, round up through your back, lift up through your right toes. Stretch forward and back. 3 more times. Hug in, lift up. Keep that squeeze going as you come forward. Reach way back, extend, and then compress. So we're doing a big extension and then a big compression. Ooh. All right. And let's rest in child's pose. Oh. Notice how your whole body, and maybe it feels like it's just really coming alive and feeling good even with the challenge. And now we're going to play with half moon and warrior 3. So if you're unfamiliar with these poses, feel free to be by a wall so you can have a wall at your back to help to support you if you kind of fall back. Or have your hand a little higher on a chair, like if you don't have a block or you want a little more height than that. So, but the same principles apply of engaging our muscles, hugging inward, expanding outward, and balancing the difference between those two energies and kind of bring them into harmony. So let's start in our down dog. Step your left foot in a little bit. Reach your right leg up and back, and then heel to hip, knee to chest. Step your foot all the way forward. So here's where you could use a block or something a little bit higher. Step into your right leg and start to open up your hips. So you're stacking your right hip on top of the left hip, stacking the left hip on top of the right hip, left shoulder on top of the right shoulder. Keep that top leg lifted and strong by flexing your feet and like reaching out from your hip, and reach your left arm up. Maybe gaze up at the sky. So this top leg is going to want to drop. So see if you can keep it nice and lifted. And lower your hand down. Step back to your down dog. We'll do the other side. Step the right leg in. Reach up and back. Pull your heel to your hip, your knee to your chest. Step your foot all the way forward. Find your block or something to give you a little extra height. Push into your left leg. Stack your right hip above your left hip and your right shoulder above the left shoulder. Keep that top leg super active and reach your arm up toward the sky. Maybe even try to gaze up toward the sky. And bring your hand back down and step back to your down dog. So we'll do that again, and if you want to try a lower height or not using the block, feel free to do that. Step the left foot in a little bit, reach the right leg up and back. Hug your heel to your hip and then squeeze into your chest, step your foot all the way forward. So this time I'm not going to use the block. I'm going to stack my left hip on top of the right hip, really opening this hip up. Keep the legs strong. Like this leg, if you press down on it, you should feel like it would be hard to push down because you're using all this energy to hold it up. Open up the top shoulder. Think of the belly drawing in just like in plank, and reach your arm up. Maybe you reach your gaze up. Hold it here for a couple of breaths. And lower your hand down. Step back to your down dog. And we'll do the left side again. So step the right leg in, reach the left leg up. Pull your heel into your hip, your knee into your chest, step your foot all the way forward. And start to load up that left foot. Stack the right hip on top. Open up through your right shoulder. And keep your leg that's in the air, your arm that's in the air nice and active. Maybe gaze up. Good, lower your hand down. Step back into your down dog. And walk your feet to your hands, coming into a forward fold. So lift and spread your toes. So what we did in the beginning of putting our fingers between our toes will help us get used to the idea of spreading out the toes so we have a wider base to work from. And think of the tripod of the foot, so the mound of the big toe, the mound of the pinky toe, and the center of the heel. Press down into your feet, rise all the way up to stand. And bring your hands together in front of your heart. So we'll play with Warrior 3. The same idea, the leg that's up on top, that's not bearing all the weight, that leg has to be super strong. So the easier variation of Warrior 3 is to put weight into your right foot and reach your hands back, but keep your shoulders lifted as you lower your chest toward the ground and lift your back leg up. Keep that top leg really strong. And come back to stand. If you let your belly drop, it's going to be way harder and it's not going to be so good on your back. So think of drawing your belly kind of up and back to support your low back. So shift your weight into your left foot now. Keep the shoulders open, so don't let the shoulders drop. Keep the shoulders nice and open. Activate the glutes. And then start to shift your weight into your left foot as you reach your right leg back. Don't let the shoulders drop. Don't let your leg drop like I just did. And think that you've got support from underneath holding you up. Shoulders lifting, belly lifting, top leg active. And come back to stand. Just kind of let everything get a little loose here. Shake things out. And now we're going to do Warrior 3, but with our arms reaching forward, which is actually quite a bit harder. So if this is new to you and you want to practice with your arms back again, feel free to do that. If you want to like playfully go for the next level, then reach your arms forward. So shift your weight into your right foot, spread the toes, press into the tripod of your foot so that pressing down gives you a little extra buoyancy. And as you start to reach your leg back, reach your arms forward, keeping that top leg really strong. Engaging your whole body. Reaching forward through your fingertips, back through your toes. And come back to stand. We'll do the other side. So lift and spread the toes on your left foot. Root down through the tripod of your foot. And think of pressing down to create a little lift. And then as you reach your right leg back, you're going to reach your arms forward. Keeping the right leg strong and engaged. Seeing how close you can lower your chest toward the floor, which will lift the back leg up a little bit higher. Reach away from your center line, so reach your fingers forward and your toes back. And come back up to stand. Alrighty, so let's come into a little squat. And just reach your arms forward, let your head dangle. That could feel really nice on your back. Lower your hips to the ground. And feel free to lie on your back, take a little savasana. But this was a little bit longer than I intended it to be, but that's okay. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something about your body and integrating different opposing energies to work together. Notice if when you walk around, or if you want to try this again on your own, if you feel a little more stable, a little more balanced, because being consistent and practicing over and over again is what leads to growth and greater understanding and the strength to support what we want to do. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I put new videos out, and spread the word, tell your friends. And even most importantly, please leave a comment below. Let me know how this felt for you. Let me know what you want to explore more that I might be able to help you with. And I don't know, have a great rest of your day or evening. See you next time.